Here's Vanessa Neumann now, an analyst on Latin America at the Foreign Policy Research Institute, joining us from New York, and we thank you for your time. How big a win is this for those protesters? I mean, as we said, we've seen 26 people killed, but President Ortega has backed down somewhat.
Thank you for having me on, Kamal. Yeah, he has backed down somewhat, so I really don't think that these protests are going to stop. They've seen a little bit of victory. They've seen what the pressure can build, that they can put Ortega a little bit on the back foot, so they'll keep going. As your reporter said, you know, they have other complaints. So unfortunately, this is a little bit like the playbook that we have seen sort of in Venezuela. And now as the poor are losing their pensions and see that threatened, which was the one thing that they were sort of slightly willing to exchange for, you know, lose political control in exchange for the pensions. Now that deal is breaking down. That's not going to hold. So they're going to expect them to continue pushing.
And what else is under threat? You talked about other concerns, other issues which people have.
Yes, of course. Well, so it's no secret to anybody who studies Latin America, and I'm from Venezuela originally, by the way, so I've spent, you know, a couple of decades studying this. They have a very strong relationship, Ortega and what was Chavez and is now Maduro, and they're very much aligned through the ALBA, and they have these free trade and these financing agreements. As Venezuela is collapsing, it can no longer finance its friends like Daniel Ortega, who has lost a lot of money coming in from Venezuela. But they use the same playbook. There's a lot of, control of the Electoral Commission, control of the National Assembly, control of the Supreme Court. And even the way that the repression unfolded was very much the playbook. Men on motorcycles, and that kind of intimidation is exactly what we have seen in the protests in Venezuela in 2014 and 2017. Now, the difference is these protesters at least got the government to reverse something. So
how far is Ortega?
They have those political complaints.
How far is Daniel Ortega into his current term? I'm just wondering, you know, when he would have to face the voters anyway. He's having to face them in a very different way at the moment.
Yeah, well, that's another thing. He eliminated term limits. He came in 2007 after, you know, he was there in the 80s during the Civil War with the Sandinistas and all that. And then when the laws were changed and he was able to win with a simple majority, he came in 2007. So, no, I don't. I mean, I think he has to face the electorate maybe next year or another couple of years or the year after that, either 2019 or 2020. But he's eliminated term limits. And one of the things that the protesters want is, like we had in Venezuela, again, another similarity, is they want a recall referendum that's supposed to be granted to them. And they're not allowing even that recall referendum to be considered. A recall referendum would be for him to end his presidency early.
Vanessa Neumann, wonderful to talk to you.
So those are the larger
Thank you so much for your time today. I do appreciate it.